Hello lovelies, we are back today with another video, and today's video is all about runway walking. I'm just going to tell you how I kind of improved my runway walk, because obviously runway walks are like work in progress, as I feel like you are going to see progression the more comfortable you get on the runway, the more you practice, all that stuff. I know people say practice makes perfect, but I don't think anything's ever perfect. You can always improve. I think that practice makes permanence. So basically, if you keep on practicing, your walk will be, you'll love it. And I feel like a big reason why I want to do this video today is because I am a 4'11" petite runway model. The first one, and you know what? I'm really proud of that. And I didn't even think that I wanted to become a runway model because I didn't think I could become a runway model, which is a really bad mind, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Thing to put in your head that you can't. We obviously never want to tell ourselves that we can't. I grew up watching America's Next Top Model, and I would always say easy, breezy, beautiful, cover girl. I would always practice that. I just knew that I wasn't too tall for it, but I would always practice in the mirror because at the end of America's Next Top Model they have that campaign where they say easy, breezy, beautiful, cover girl, and I was like, how would I say easy, breezy, beautiful, cover girl? I would practice it. I would say it in a fun, playful voice. I would say it in a more serious voice. Like, just things like that. Ultimately, I was led down this path, and I applied for this opportunity to walk in New York Fashion Week. I had never modeled before that. I just was watching America's Next Top Model, and I would just practice posing because I wanted to take social media a bit more seriously in high school, like, because I guess this was a path that I wanted to go down. I just had a bunch of different interests, so it's really hard to put like my foot on what I wanted to do because I really was one of those kids that just wanted to do everything. I did want to become a scientist, so there's just like a bunch of different things. I wanted to become a doctor, I wanted to become a marine biologist, I wanted to become a fashion designer. I wanted to do everything that were extreme differences. I wanted to become a professional soccer player or football player, as you say in the UK. And yeah, I never put myself in this little thing where I just wanted to do everything. And so I got this opportunity to apply for a runway show in New York Fashion Week, and I got it. And I was like, okay, well now I need to practice my walk, because I did submit a walk, but not that I knew really what I was doing, but how I kind of progressed in my walk. I mean, I did get trolled on social media. Back in the day, like, blowing up on Instagram was really difficult, and my video got 100,000 views like overnight, and it was because my walk wasn't good. But anyway, we moved past that. That's how I got to where I am today, so that is a part of the story. I will plot my good old walk right here because yeah, she wasn't great, but you know what? Now I absolutely love my walk. I'm still working on it to this day. But how did I progress from this to where I am now? It depends on how you learn, really. So you'll know best, you'll know yourself best, but I'm the type of person that I need to watch something. If I watch something, I will know how to do it. That was even in soccer. If I would watch someone do a move, I would just know how to do it. I guess it's a visual learner, so that's how I learn. And I also learn by doing. So with those two together, I need to watch something and then I need to just do it, right? And so in soccer, that's when I would just do it. I would just do it in practice. I would just do it in a game because I saw it. With runway, it's a bit different because it's a bit hard to just do it on the runway, because I feel like in sports you can mess up and that's okay, but on the runway you can't really mess up. You don't really have room to mess up or time to mess up, because you do have that one moment back and that's it, and you don't get that back and you don't get to redo it. And so you have to make it as flawless as you can that one time that you're going. And so I would just practice in my house. I would just find a space in my house or outside where I could just walk back and forth, see something and practice it and try it and videotape myself so I can see myself doing it. That's how I learn best. So if you learn like that, that's perfect. But if you learn in a different way, then just take what I'm saying and apply it to the way that you learn best. One of my favorite models to watch do her runway walk is Naomi Campbell. Her walk to me is just, I just love it. Love, 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 love. So I would watch Naomi Campbell walk and walk and do her runway walk and watch compilations on YouTube. I would watch a bunch. I just sounded English there, I think. I am developing a little bit of an English accent. Okay, I would watch I would watch tons of runway videos, and so just seeing how they would move, how models would move is what I was able to then translate into my practice. And so that's what helped me, is just watching and practicing. But now I'm going to give you a little bit of a technical breakdown of really what you should pay attention to if you're first starting and you don't know what to look for. So basically, what I always tell my models that I teach on my one-on-one classes that I teach over Zoom, make sure, especially if you're on the shorter side, we need to really make sure we're focusing on this. Stand really, really tall. Make it feel like you have a pole going through your back. So this is me crouched, this is me standing really tall, right? So just have yourself standing tall, lifting everything up, and shoulders back. We don't want to be walking like this. We want our shoulders back, nice and high. So this is what I should be looking like. We're standing really tall, and I like to push my hips forward a little bit. So if I'm walking, especially in swimwear, I push my hips out a bit more to really showcase the piece. But if I'm doing just regular clothes, push my hips forward a little bit, shoulders back, stand tall, and make sure you're careful with your arms, because arms are a little bit of a problem area sometimes, because I feel like when we're really focusing on that we're doing a runway walk, our arms tend to go a bit crazy. But with that being said, we don't want to completely take away the movement. My cat is giving me the dirtiest look right now. He's like, I'm trying to sleep. Marissa, shut up. But you know what? I need to do this video because this is really, really important. But anyway, what I was saying is we don't want to completely eliminate that hand movement as well, because then it looks a bit unnatural. So we do need that arm movement, and this is what I struggled with the most, and I will not even lie and say, oh no, I didn't struggle with it. I struggled with my arm movement, because sometimes I would think of it too much, sometimes I would pull it back too much, but we need that happy medium. So we're not crossing our arms, but we're also not walking like this, right? So just try to find that happy medium. I even practiced with putting a broom in between my arms. So I would stand like this, and I would put a broom here, and I obviously couldn't drop the broom, so my arms would just stay like this, but you still get a bit of natural movement. So I can even tell you to practice like that. That was helpful for me when I was learning. But just try to keep that natural movement if you can, while keeping them behind you. I think that looks really beautiful. Some models cross them in the front, whichever you want, because at the end of the day, the main thing is this is your walk and this is no one else's walk. So if you're happy with your walk, that is all that you need, right? And we don't want to be like everyone else. We need to add our own little flair, because I feel like as soon as you see some models, such as Naomi Campbell, you know that that's Naomi Campbell's walk. Before, like, let's say you just see her walking, let's say you just see her bottom half, you know that that's her, because her walk is so iconic and it is so true to her. Like, you just know that it's her walk. So I feel like that's something that you want. You want your own little touch. So let's say you take a little bit of someone else's walk that you love, a little bit of someone else's walk, and you create your own. That's really where the magic happens, and that's really how you make a name for yourself in this industry, because people know that that's you, and that's so exciting to say. And maybe even someone will be inspired by your walk, and they'll say, okay, this is what I want my walk to look like, and they practice doing your technique. So I would say be really mindful of standing really, really tall and pushing your hips forward a little tiny bit. And arms are so important. The next thing that I believe is so important is your turn. The turn is one of the hardest, along with the arms, in my opinion, because you only have that one time to do it, and you can't mess it up, right? And so the turn is so important. And I feel like I'm not critiquing anyone particularly, I'm just making a general critique and something that even I've done before. Sometimes I feel like when you're thinking of turning, it's really hard to turn naturally. So sometimes we just see an abrupt turn, and I feel like it's just because you're overthinking. But once you just let your body do it, you just do a natural turn as if you're just turning normally. So let's be really mindful of the turn. We don't want to throw ourselves turn like this. We just want a nice little elegant turn. I mean, unless the designer wants that, that's a whole other story. But I would say really be mindful of the turn, and be mindful of where the cameras are. So if the cameras are up high, You don't want your chin to be down when you're posing. Does that make sense? So let's say the cameras are, let's say everyone's on a platform. When you're walking down the runway, you have so much stuff to think about. Your arms, the walk, are you crossing over too much? Is it the right speed? All this stuff, but you need to be mindful of where the camera people are. Because if they're on the floor, I've had this before, people are on the floor taking photos, some people are on a platform taking photos. You need to, that determines kind of what you do at the end of the runway, because if people are on the floor, you don't want to have your chin up like this, because then you're going to get a photograph of just your chin, right? So you have to put your head down a tiny bit when you're doing your pose. Not all the way down like this, but just, you kind of have to gauge where you should be tilting your head to. So let's say, same difference, if they're up, you don't want to be having your head down here, because then they're just going to get your forehead. So you need to lift a tiny bit, not all the way like this, but you know what I mean. So you just kind of have to find that balance in between. So I would say these are the most important things to work on while doing your walk. Obviously there's so much to think about, and that's just kind of a general run through and talk, but I do want to film an in-depth video where I'm really showing you what to do, because it's way easier to show you techniques that you can actually see rather than me just telling you. But I feel like if this is something you're interested in, let me know. I think I am going to make a video even if no one says anything about runway walks, because I think that seeing, especially in my circumstance, that's how I learn. I think it's really important. But just to give you guys a general overlook of what you should be looking out for when you're practicing a runway walk, here we go. And I hope that was so helpful, and I love you guys lots, and I guess I'll just have to bust out my runway shoes and practice. Oh, that just made me think of something. If you're not comfortable in heels, that is completely fine and normal, because they are a bit of an odd thing, but you want to feel so comfortable walking in heels that I can run in heels. I'm that comfortable that I can run in them, and that is not to say that sometimes designers give me shoes that are too small. I take that way back. They're never too small. They are always way too big, and walking in big heels is really difficult. But I'm talking about practicing heels that are your size, and if you're uncomfortable walking in heels, just walk around in heels in your free time at home. So this is how you can build that comfort in them, and you know how to move in them, and you can move freely. If you feel comfortable in heels, it'll eliminate a big scare of walking on the runway in heels. Trust me. Okay, now I'm done. And now I will film a video of me actually walking. I think once I go back to London, I'm going to film that video. If you'd like to give me a big, see you in the next one.